Hi, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, Texas, on Monday, April the 3rd, and welcome to our commentary. Later today in the evening, we will be posting on our blog as well as over at Blog Talk Radio the podcast that we did with our friend Bill Katz, the editor of Urgent Agenda. We're going to get into a lot of things that are happening. Of course, Bill is in New York, so he is right there in the epicenter or where everything is happening today. As you know, President Trump, I guess he flew in already. He's already in New York. He's going to be staying at the Trump Towers. And, it's going to be quite a show. I mean, I don't know I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen because something like this has never happened before, but he will go, I guess, before the court, before the judge. They will read him his indictment. What happens after that? I've heard different things. I'm not sure. But then he's going back to Florida, where I believe he's going to be giving a speech. So it's going to be, never ending Trump, I guess, for the next 24, 48 hours. So again, we have never seen this before. We've never had a president indicted in America's history. And there's a good reason for that. There's a good reason for that. As Bill and I went into today on our podcast, when you cross this line, when you cross the line that you're indicting somebody, well, you're only assuring yourself that the guy from the other side is going to be indicted again. So we've avoided these things in the past, and why we're doing it now is that I know why we're doing it, because you have these politically driven district attorneys who seem to be more interested in getting Trump than actually getting criminals. In fact, there's a joke running around New York. A friend of mine told me today. There's a joke going around New York that Donald Trump's mistake was to have this relationship, or the allegation that he had a relationship with this movie star or whatever. That was really his mistake, having a relationship with her. Had he taken this woman, killed her, and had her hanging from a tree in Central Park and shot her 50 times, nothing would have happened. Because people who commit the most violent of crimes in New York City under this district attorney, nothing happens to them. Nothing happens to them. That's unfortunately what's happening in New York under this district attorney's watch. So this is why, for many of us, it was rather interesting today to see the mayor of New York taking such a tough approach to criminals, saying, hey, don't you dare get out of hand, because we're going to be here enforcing the law. And then you had the police chief saying the same thing. Look, I've got to believe that there's a lot of people in New York looking at this and saying, where have you guys been? Where have you guys been? Because you're not enforcing the law right now. You're not maintaining law and order in New York City. Just look at the crime statistics in New York City. Pretty scary. So we'll see what happens. I really have no idea, because we're literally navigating into new territory. This has never happened before. And I'm really hoping, my hope is that a judge will throw this out as soon as possible, so that it doesn't go very far. This is not good for the country, to put the country through something like this. There is something else too that I heard, and this is from Professor Dershowitz, who has been very critical of all of this indictment. And he was basically saying that there's another problem here, and that is that somebody has been leaking what's in these 34 counts or whatever there are. The indictment, we shouldn't know what's in it, or how many counts. That should all be secret. But apparently somebody leaked this, and that in itself is a felony. So we'll see how all of this goes. I've got to post Monday morning, and I've got to post Tuesday morning. On Monday morning, I'm talking about what appears to be happening in the country right now with this gender ideology. Where apparently the Homeland Security is now going to allow a person who comes into the country to change their gender. In other words, if you come into the country as a man and the documentation says that you're a man, but you identify as a woman, I guess we're going to let you change it now. Not exactly sure why, but we're going to let you now choose your own gender. Now, I guess if an adult chooses to do that, I don't have a problem with an adult choosing to do that. But when you're coming into the United States or any other border that you're crossing, I think it's only fair that we know who you really are. And that's what gender does. Gender identifies a person. So if you're a man, for example, and let's just say, hypothetically, say you've had criminal problems, or it doesn't even have to be violent criminal. It could be, administrative problems that you've had or whatever. And all of a sudden you change and you become a woman. Well, what happens to all of that you did before? It's no longer part of the record, I guess, because now you're a woman. This is crazy. This is gender ideology driven to a crazy level. And that is happening in the country, and it's not doing the country any good. It's certainly not doing immigration any good, to say the least. Now, the other big issue is, and this, I mean, I don't understand why the feminists are not more angry about this, but they aren't. I guess they accept it. You now have men who claim to be women advertising products as women. And a good example of this is this young man, Dylan, whatever his name is, who is now a woman, he says. In fact, not only is he a woman, he celebrated 365 days of being a girl. I guess that's some big anniversary in his life. He's been a girl for the last 365 days. I didn't realize it was that easy to be a girl. I had no idea that you could just declare yourself a girl and for 1 year and then have a party to celebrate your 1 year of being a girl. I didn't know you could do that. But anyway, she is doing it. So as a consequence, she's getting these advertising contracts. She's now advertising beer, light beer, I guess the less filling or the less fattening beer, whatever you want to call it. He is also advertising female clothing, healthcare products, even some hygiene products for women. This is a man who's doing this. But he gets away with it. And here's the part that just bugs me. Where are the feminists? Because this man, just as happens in sports, you're denying a woman that job. That job should go to a woman to sell this product or that service. That's a job that a woman should have, because a woman is a woman. This man is not. But yet somehow this is happening. This is being completely accepted in our society. And then they wonder why the young people are so confused. Well, yeah, let me tell you why they're confused. Because when you don't understand that there are differences between the genders, when you think a guy can become a girl and pretend to be a girl and go on TV and make money doing it, those are not signs of a very healthy society. I would argue the opposite. Those are signs of a very unhealthy society that has a lot of problems. So I don't know what to say. I mean, you do feel that the country has come off the rails. The country, somehow or another, we're not the same country we were 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And we've come off the rails a little bit with all this crazy gender stuff and identity politics stuff that I think is taking this country down a very, very bad road. And all I can tell you is I hope we change. And I hope we change very fast, because things around the world, and that's one of the things that we got into with Bill Katz about. Listen to the podcast if you get a chance. As I said, it's available in my blog and also on Blog Talk Radio. But there's a lot of problems around the world. China, Russia, Ukraine. Now you've got countries doing deals where they're going around the US dollar and they're making deals. OPEC has suddenly decided that they're going to cut back production. Well, that means there's less oil. What does that mean? We pay more for gasoline. Now, of course, if we had a president who was willing to say to Texas and Alaska, hey, guys, start producing all you got because we need you, then it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But we have an administration who only seems concerned about climate change, or people wearing MAGA hats who apparently are a big threat to the country. So we're in trouble, folks. We're in trouble. This is not a good time for the country. The country right now needs a dramatic change in leadership or direction. Obviously, there's nothing we can do about it until the next election, but take all of this into account the next time you're considering a candidate, because we need a change of leadership, and we need it the sooner, the better. Again, check out the podcast over at Blog Talk Radio, also over on my blog. Thank you for listening. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye, everybody.